Hi, this is Helen Mitis, and I'm so excited to be interviewing Vicky Santiago today. Vicky is from New Zealand. Welcome, Vicky!
Hi, Helen. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much.
I'm so excited to talk to you today about your presentation at HypnoBiZ Australia in March 2020 at the Gold Coast. But before we do that, I just want to know a little bit more about you. And if you can just tell me how you came into this world of hypnosis.
Sure, Helen. Well, it's been, I suppose lots of people are saying that it's been quite a long story, as everything often is, so I'll try and keep it short. I always knew that I wanted to do something that would help people in some way, and I was always interested in alternative health. I wasn't quite sure what that would look like, and so I went on and had an interesting career as a dancer and in fitness and doing all sorts of other wild and wonderful things. But when the time came to retrain after I had my family, I looked around and I thought, oh, do I want to be a naturopath? No, not really. And so I looked around all these modalities. I didn't quite find what was right for me. And then I found out about hypnotherapy, mainly through the work of Marissa here. And I just found it so inspiring. It opened up my mind to my mind, basically, and all the possibilities within. It was quite a different approach for me. I came from a very scientific background, and my university degree is actually in human evolution, which now I think is kind of ironic.
Yes.
But I was very scientific, no spiritual background whatsoever. And so as I began to become interested in hypnotherapy and to consider it as an option of maybe that was what it was that I was looking for, my dad, just at that crucial point, actually passed away. Okay. And while his death was hard, as any death is, it also was quite a beautiful experience because I was there with him during his passing, and he died of respiratory failure. And I actually spent many, many hours with him in the hospital, actually making it up as I went along, like a mini visualization, a mini hypnosis, taking him into a garden and just trying to help him get out of that kind of panic state that you naturally go into when your breathing is compromised. Yeah. And it was just such a beautiful experience for both of us. And that was what clinched it for me.
Okay.
And I literally came out of the hospital and gave myself a week and signed up for training.
Wonderful, wonderful. It's incredible, the things that happen that lead. And, later on we connect the dots of all those events that have, brought you to where you are today. So how do you marry that up in your mind, though, having that scientific brain and studying what you studied with, how you feel? So how do you marry that up, and how does that work for you?
Well, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
Again, Dad's death actually was really profound for me, in that he reached out at the moment of his passing and was actually, it sounds kind of woo-woo and strange to some perhaps, but he was in full contact with me for a week after his passing. So for me, that was very eye-opening. Yeah. It was an awakening, I suppose. And from my heart, I just knew, from the inside, I knew what was happening. I had no doubt whatsoever. So there was, again, this part of me, this logical, conscious mind going, whoa, like, you're looking a bit like a freak here. And then this other part of me was just completely convinced, knew exactly what was going on. And that's when, I guess, my spiritual awakening happened, and I started to get interested in all of these things. It was a whole new world for me, which I hadn't considered before.
So that week that you say that, he came and spoke to you, can I ask, like, did that happen at night, during the day, specific, and how did you know in your heart that this was real and you're not just imagining it?
Yeah. It was from the moment of his passing. I literally felt, some spiritual people watching might know more than me about what this was, but just an energy in my chest, and it was still warm from his body heat, and I could feel it, like it was literally, I thought it was merging into my chest, maybe it was into my heart chakra, I don't know, but I just felt that energy, I felt that pressure, and it was a loving pressure, and it was all consuming. And I knew from that moment that he was gone, even though his breathing reflexes were still happening. Yeah. He was gone, he wasn't in there anymore. And then as we were going to leave the hospital room, and we were just kind of hanging back, it felt a little bit weird to leave him behind there. And this voice came in from inside up into my mind, and it was just, it's time to go now. And I knew that wasn't my voice, that wasn't from me. And then he just kept things that no one else would have known, messages for my kids. The whole way I was driving home from the hospital, I kept kind of getting these energetic prods of like, tell the kids this and tell the kids that.
Wow. Oh my God. I'm just like, I'm full of goosebumps all over my body.
It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. How incredible, and how, fortunate that you were able to see it and feel it. So, so many experiences that we have, we don't even know they're there. But you acknowledged it, you accepted it, despite your scientific degree, you were open-minded to what was going on around you, and therefore you got the benefit of those messages, which is just beautiful. And what about any communication since, Vicky? Have you had any communication since?
Well, so that continued for a week, and what's interesting is I later on read Michael Newton's book of The Life Between Lives, and again I got goosebumps because everything that was described in that book with how his clients, as they've gone between lives, explain how things tend to happen, that's exactly what I had experienced with my dad. And I also, again, from this book, it helped me to understand my mum and I were in a really kind of good place, I suppose. We had been working on those visualizations. It had been a really loving experience, and because of that, I guess we were in this calm place rather than being all hysterical. And the book also helped me to understand that when we're in that calm, loving place, then of course it's much easier for our loved ones to reach out and make contact with us. So I'm really grateful for that. And again, that was the hypnotherapy coming in, I suppose.
Beautiful, absolutely lovely.
Yeah.
So
that went on for a full week, and then literally at the cremation, he said goodbye, and it's time for me to go now.
Wow.
And I haven't heard anything since.
Wow. So Vicky, tell me, I love your topic that you'll be presenting at HypnoBiZ Australia. It's very different, and it's all about having a soul-led practice. So it's that merging of business with your soul. So tell us a little bit about what participants are going to get from that presentation.
Absolutely. So as I've been doing, as I say, we often do this work on ourselves, and we start to see what's needed, and then other people are drawn to us as well because they see what we're doing. I found it just the most helpful thing to create a business looking from kind of the inside out. There's a lot of quite analytical business advice out there, but we can often find that we get in that situation where we're in our first year of practice and we're getting over all of our baggage around confidence and money blocks and being on a Facebook Live and all those kinds of things. And then we get through that phase and we're into year 2, year 3, year 4, where we're suddenly packed up with clients and running to catch up, and suddenly we find ourselves doing the work that we're not really that interested in, and it's not what we thought it was going to be, for example. And so part of this journey for me has been learning more about the different options that are available, that there can be a divine plan, that there can be, looking into the future and all of these other things that in the past, no. So as part of my exploration of all of those possibilities, I've come to see that the best thing that we can do for our business, our practice, is to actually look at that bigger picture, to zoom right out and get in touch with who we are, what really lights us up, what's the impact that we want to make in the world, and then design a business around that.
Beautiful.
Rather than what we normally do or what we're told, which is the other way around.
Yeah. And did you find, though, when you first started, you were doing it the other way around, or were you always doing it like this way around?
My whole life, I've always, one of my strengths, I think, is to think outside the box and to do things a bit differently. I used to pride myself on doing things the hard way until I learned to talk to myself better and realize what that meant. Yes. But yeah, for me, I was always quite open-minded, I suppose, but part of coming into the hypnotherapy, what appealed to me was the fact that I could do it online, for example. And I was really keen to create more of an online practice rather than your standard bricks and mortar. So I suppose I was a little more open-minded at the beginning. But also as part of this, again, I found that myself, that as I went through the work and I started getting booked up, I know that there are people out there who love having 25 clients a week. When I got to that point, I just felt, oh, this is not quite right. I'm missing something. I always felt there was a bigger impact that I wanted to make in the world. And with the dancing and things, I really felt that superficiality was difficult. And I felt I wasn't actually creating an impact.
Yeah.
But even working one-on-one on clients, I know that that is a wonderful impact. But for me, I want a slightly different impact.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love it. I love it. And, you know, I actually did do it the other way around to begin with. So for me, when I first started my business, it was a lot of hard work and really, you know, sometimes going against the grain in terms of what I really wanted to do. And I did see 25 clients a week for years, to the point where I never had a break. I never even took Sunday off. You know, I still did admin on Sundays and Mondays, and I got myself really sick. So that's what actually happened, was I was physically ill. And so something had to change because of what I went through. But what you're suggesting is that, you know, that it doesn't need to happen like that. That it can be a soul-led practice where you're working from the inside out, and you're first of all thinking about, you know, what impact and what kind of business you like, so that you are fulfilled really from the very core, from the soul. So it's just fascinating. Your topic is really fascinating about how we can make a successful business from this place of coming from the heart and the soul, as opposed to from the head. So is there anything else you want to say about that, Vicky?
Just that there's so much out there. It's all about knowing yourself, and we'll look into life purpose when I talk about the impact that you're going to make. What are you here to learn? What are you here to do? But also looking at your personality, what kind of marketing is right for who you are, for example.
Yes.
If you're the type of person who thrives being out hosting workshops, then why are you worrying about digital funnels, for example?
Exactly. Yeah, absolutely. That just reminds me of myself and Clive Girdham have partnered up to do this exclusive mastermind. And I said to him, are you going to go and do a live on that? And he said, no, you do that. I don't do that. He says, I do the quirky posts and you do the Facebook Live. So, you know, because that's our personalities, you know, and that's what we're bringing into the group, is our yin and yang, you know, is that difference. And that's what you're saying, is that you have to be aligned with who you are, which is so important, so that you can be happy and bring the best to the people that you're serving. So if there's something that you would leave us with, Vicky, what would it be? Just anything at all, something is inspirational.
Well, ultimately for me, it's about following the joy. So we tend to take things so seriously, and we're always telling our clients, you know, that everything we do is because of how we want to feel. But how often do we turn that on ourselves?
Yeah.
How do we want to feel? What activities in life are going to help us to feel that joy? And to just take things a little lighter and just think to yourself, I wonder if, I wonder what. What if it works out? What if they say yes? And just follow that.
That's beautiful. I love that. That reminds me of a number of years ago, I had this dilemma, and Joanna Cameron, Joanna Cameron is the trans lady. She's from the United States, English in origin, and she'll be attending as a presenter at HypnoBiZ Australia. And I'm very close to her, and I've confided in her with many of my personal situations. She's always been there for me. And I said to her, Joanna, I've got this dilemma, and I wish you were closer because I want your advice. She said, the answer's easy, Helen. Just do whatever gives you joy, which is, exactly what you just said. And I always think of that. As long as we're not harming somebody else and hurting anybody else, do that which gives you joy. And from that, everything will flow. So that's beautiful. Thank you so much for that. And so I want to encourage everybody to, please note the kind of presenters, people like Vicky Santiago from New Zealand, the calibre of presenters that we've got at HypnoBiZ Australia is incredible. And we've got over 50 presenters from over 10 countries. And as you can see with every single interview that I'm doing, they're all completely different. So there's, no matter who you are, whether you are that analytical therapist or that soul-centered therapist or whoever you are, you will be served at HypnoBiZ Australia because there will be a presenter that's right for you. Is there anything else that you'd like to say about that, Vicky?
Not at all, except I encourage everybody to watch all of this interview series because I'm so fired up. I can't wait to come.
Yeah.
Presentations, they just sound amazing.
Absolutely. I can't wait too. And it's going to be here before we know it. So you better book your tickets and your accommodation, because this is going to be a sold out conference. I have no doubt about it. So thank you so much, Vicky. Sending you love always.
Thank you, Helen. Bye.